December 1989. On the 3rd of December, George H.W. Bush and Mikhail Gorbachev declared an end to the Cold War. I was only 3 years old at the time, and my memory is sparse, but I don't think anyone actually cared. Luckily, something much more culturally significant was just around the corner. I'm talking, of course, about the U.S. premiere of Akira on Christmas Day, 1989. Akira had its original release on July 15th, 1988 in Japan, during what is considered the golden age of anime. This is a period of time where, due to the Japanese financial and economic boom, there was a growing demand for the creation and consumption of animation. This is a time period before anime was really anime. Otaku culture and the late-stage capitalism of Japan had yet to solidify what the key ingredients were for anime. They had yet to develop the niche taste that would make demands on creators and artists to produce pandering material. This meant that anime created during this period could challenge what animation can be, and be made to appeal directly to no one, allowing it to appeal to possibly anyone. Technically based on the Akira manga that was started in 1982, the film was also responsible for inspiring the manga. Akira, the film, is directed by Katsuhiro Otomo, who is also the creator of the manga, and is essentially a truncated version of the first volume of the manga and the final 6th volume. The thing is, though, the manga was written before, during, and after the film, with the final volume not being released until 1990. Akira was like lightning out of a clear sky, a dystopian vision of what 2019 could be, tackling the existential dread the Japanese society as a whole felt about advancing technology. Technology in the West had always been held with a sort of mystic reverence, but with creations like Godzilla and Akira, we can see a great anxiety in Japan with regards to the march of technology. Akira was a critical success upon release in Japan, while not necessarily being a financial one. Despite this, the film was being championed for a Western release early out the gates by the likes of Francis Ford Coppola, George Lucas, and Steven Spielberg, so distributors, however, did not think there was a viable financial incentive for adult animation. Luckily, a new company, Streamline Productions, said fuck it and changed your life forever. If you ever watched Dragon Ball Z, Sailor Moon, or know what a Gundam is, it's because of Akira. Akira is the catalyst for anime and adult animation in general's presence in the West. An argument can even be made for the MCU never existing without Akira being released in the United States. We don't have time for that though, we need to get to a podcast. What I do need to tell you though, is that the chain reaction Akira started has fizzled out. The future has been cancelled, and it was cancelled a long time ago now. There's an artificial flame in a plastic facade that is tended by unknowable beings, corporations like Disney and Sony. Jacques Derrida coined the term hauntology to refer to the idea that we never encountered things as fully present, as fully real. All of our experiences are mixed up with the past and the future. We can only understand the present by contextualizing it with the past and future. In that way, we are always haunted. What we're talking about today, though, is a more specific interpretation of hauntology, a cultural hauntology. The way in which our media is haunted by the past and the future, and how the capitalist reliance on cultural prestige of the past has led to an absence of any imagined future. The future is lost, and we are only haunted now by the past. We return endlessly to past futures instead of cultivating our own conceptual futures. Akira predicts a 2019 that is more openly dystopian than our actual 2019, and its accuracies can be seen simply as quaint novelty in the 2019 we all inhabit. Oddly though, the real cultural dystopia present in our 2019 is highlighted only in retrospect by Akira. We are no longer able to imagine our world 40 years beyond our time. We instead are forced to cling to the retrofuturism that was presented to us when it was an actual possible future. A few examples: the lingering corpse of the Fallout series, Netflix's Stranger Things, Ready Player One, even Blade Runner 2049, and perhaps this very podcast. Superhero films are also in this swirling abyss of hauntology, occupying an even shorter time loop where characters are recycled over and over again for a new consumer event where the past is forgotten and the only future is more of the same. Disney as a whole, of course, has made an entire industry off of hauntology with Star Wars, remakes of the very recent animated successes, and artificial copyright extensions. As the release of Cyberpunk 2077 approaches, I get the feeling that this game too will be a monument of hauntology. Its seeming reliance on aesthetics, pastiche, and the studio's tiptoeing around the politics of the setting leads me to believe that it'll also be just another work of capitalist emptiness. I already know that the tabletop game itself uses the politics of cyberpunk and what the possible future would be as mere set dressing, and it of course depicts a possible future from a genre of art that is firmly in the past with Akira. Likely because of the dominance of neoliberalism, we have reached a cultural impasse. Media giants, and society as a whole, are no longer daring to anticipate any future or conceive of a new world. Demand is only for the repetition of old, already established norms. a return to the status quo, no matter how abstract or incorporeal that might be. I love Akira. I love cyberpunk, and as can be affirmed from this podcast, I love 80s media in general. There's a particular nostalgia due to this media culture being part of my early childhood, and the aesthetics are cool to me and many others. I'm not trying to dismiss the inherent aesthetic values and cultural resonance of these creations, but what if this constant rehashing and reperpetuating of old media is a symptom of a greater cultural malaise, as alluded to by philosophers like Derrida? What happens when a creative and cultural milestone becomes nothing more than a pot of ingredients to be repurposed for not something new, but something horrific? A thing that doesn't move culture forward, but instead keeps us stuck in a haunted world of our own design. A structure that doesn't decay is a structure that can never provide space for a new structure.
You'll never grow old, Michael, and you'll never die. But you must feed.
It is a means to summon us. Cops don't like me. I don't like cops. Replicants are like any other machine. They're either a benefit or a hazard.
Brother, life's a bitch. She's dragging feet.
Taking shits.
Here we are. It's the 50th episode.
It's felt like 900. This is the last episode as well. 50 and done.
Yeah, that's what everyone says about podcasts, right? Is you just do it 1 year and give up. And that's how you
We didn't really technically make it 1 year, but
I think we're roughly around there.
I mean, yeah, technically we probably started recording around now
Yeah. I noticed it started raining outside.
for like 2 seconds.
I knew it was going to happen. I knew it. I manifested it.
You manifested nothing.
Manifest destiny.
That's bullshit. Shut up, Marianne.
Got big orb energy.
No, you just gotta visualize the hurricane away.
It worked.
Not
right?
for the Bahamas.
It worked. It worked in the white world. The Anglospheres just got stronger prayers.
I'm pretty sure I've read some people that I legitimately believe that, and they use history to bolster their points.
They use the history of
Angles.
The imperialist
shit at everybody.
The imperialist West saying that white people were the best.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah, that seems pretty.
Because we were the cruelest and hardest. Not me specifically. Most of my ancestors are Celts.
They're mud people. Goddamn mud people. Bog trotters. Bog apes. Yeah, this is the 50th episode, though. We are VHS cult now. The cult.
We're going to change again in like 40 episodes, don't worry.
Nah, we're sticking with the cult. Cold angle. Welcome to the cult. You're in my cult now.
Yeah, whatever KZA Commander.
KZA Commander. It's like KZA Manson now.
KZA Man? I don't know.
It's really easy to market. That's been my YouTube name for a while though.
KZA Manson?
Yeah. Ah, fuck. We watched Akira.
Akira.
You heard what the
Akira.
fucking news is about this film is everyone just wishes they could make Akira. That's it. They don't want to make a new Akira or anything. They just want to make Akira. In fact, they've been
People have been trying to make a live action
Akira basically since Akira came out. Most recently, Taika Waititi was going to direct it, but then Marvel said, no, you got to direct another Thor movie.
He's like, yeah, okay.
And so hopefully Akira just never gets made.
I said this off air, but I would much rather watch another Thor movie than watch someone try to do a live action Akira.
I absolutely don't want to watch a live action Akira ever. So any movie that comes out, I'd rather watch than live action Akira. Especially Cats 2019.
Did you see The Onion? It's like they've come up with an even bleaker take on the Joker, and he's like an old man taking care of his wife after a stroke. That's the movie, but maybe I'd rather watch live action Akira.
Like Memento?
Exactly.
Hey, the Memento actually plays in the hauntology a little bit, like the short-term neuro disorder he has, where he can only remember
everybody
the past.
has that, but like in a culture,
everyone
media,
has that, but it only has to do with media and culture. Society's crumbling around us, and you can see it in film and TV shows. It's awesome. Let's get to it. So, 1989, Akira comes out in the United States. Only 8 days after the premiere of The Simpsons, which now is also just shambling along as some sort of zombified corpse.
No, they've been fresh for 30 years.
30 years. It has been 30 years now, huh? Yeah. Gee, I remember when it was like season 20, and I was like, really?
Well, I mean, 89 is when they premiered, when the actual show started, right? They were on the Tracy Ullman show before that.
Yeah, just little shorts, but only like a year or two before that, like 87. I don't know. My entire lifetime, The Simpsons have been on TV pretty much. Yeah. And haven't been good for the last 20.
That might even be a little generous.
I mean, like, yeah, even the 10th and 11th season, it's like, yeah.
We're not talking about Akira. We're talking about Akira, not Simpsons.
The Armin Tanzarian Skinner episode is season 11, I think, right?
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
Or it might be season 10.
Yeah, which is like, that was the end of The Simpsons, really. At least they made Skinner Armenian. You don't see a lot of Armenian representation in the media, not until the Kardashians came along.
Armenia has never been the same since.
Yeah. Sorry, Armenia. One time, I think I told you this. Some guy at work was trying to tell me, he's like, "Oh, I watched this conspiracy video about the Kardashians, about like how they're all evil witches and they're casting a spell and blah blah blah." And I was like, "Was the guy who made the video, was he Turkish?" Yeah, because that was just like, oh, spooky Armenians. Yikes. I guess it's not good to joke about. Turkey did do a genocide on them.
That's true, they did.
Yeah, they won't admit to it.
They don't admit to it.
Well, speaking of not admitting to your war crimes, Akira.
Japan.
Straight from Japan. So, as mentioned in the cold open, Japan's got a lot of anxiety about technology, and specifically technology that's made into weapons of war. And obviously, it's because we bombed the shit out of them.
Yeah.
And you kind of just like don't get over something like that. I don't think.
It doesn't seem like they've gone over it. Although, to be fair, they've also not really dealt with their own atrocities, as we've already alluded to.
Well, they didn't commit any atrocities, right?
Yeah, right.
I think that's the official.
Well, Chinese come from women. I'm not familiar.
Yeah, I think that's the official stance.
Manchuria. I'm not. That's a place. Are you sure?
Give me Shinzo Abe on the horn right now. He's got Abenomics, like Reaganomics, but Abenomics.
It'll trickle up.
Yeah, that's always like on the internet when it's like, oh, Shinzo Abe snubbed Trump, take that Trump. But it's like, he's a piece of shit too. He's a nationalist.
I mean, most of the people that get to that level are shitty, because it's kind of hard to get that kind of power and not step on people to do it.
Yeah, that's why I think like the next like big like G7 summit or any big like meeting.
Bare knuckle boxing.
No, it's gonna be like, oh, surprise! It's Hunger Games or Battle Royale rather.
Yeah, I don't.
That's a better
give
movie.
The original one.
It's got Chiaki Kuriyama in it. She's got a cool nose, and she's Go-Go Yubari in Kill Bill. Which I'm gonna call it now. She's gonna come back up in sometime in the next month or so as we get into Halloween spooky movies. It's gonna be a real tenuous connection, but I'm I'm gonna try.
I'm gonna work it
remember.
in.
I'm gonna try to remember to bring it up. She does not appear in this film though, because my guess is she was probably like 3 years old when the movie came out. Here's the deal with this film: it's the greatest animated film of all time. What's the competition?
Lots.
Some Studio Ghibli movies and the end of list. Don't say any fucking dumb Disney shit.
You don't like Peter Pan?
I like Peter Pan, the
You don't
story. I don't like when he meets the natives.
Because the Japanese people have never done anything racist in their fucking animated movies.
Wow, it's not an Akira. So it doesn't matter. If it's not an Akira, it doesn't matter. You like Grave of the Fireflies? That really sad movie?
Yeah, that's a super sad one.
Yeah,
what about My Neighbor Totoro? I think those two were shown as a double feature.
That was a fucking mistake. I guess you could watch Grave of the Fireflies and be like, all right.
My Neighbor Totoro. That's how they did it.
Totoro. Now we'll watch Totoro.
But I mean, they all kind of dealing with the same thing. Isn't the implication that the mom is like dealing with radiation sickness?
What, in Totoro?
Yeah.
Oh, I never really thought of that.
You dumbass. You're not allowed to talk about Akira anymore. Get the fuck out.
I actually don't like Totoro that much. I've only watched it a couple times.
My daughter really likes it. We watch it every once in a while.
Oh. Do your kids like Spirited Away?
I don't know if they've seen Spirited Away yet. We've only watched a lot of the earlier Studio Ghibli movies.
Oh, like, have you watched Porco Rossi?
Yeah. And Kiki's Delivery Service.
Mm-hmm. Porco Rossi's got a cool line in it because he's a pig man. And he's like, I'd rather be a pig than a cop. Yeah, take that, society.
Anyways, back to Akira, the greatest animated movie of all time.
Greatest animated movie of all time. It was not directed by Todd Phillips and did not win a gold lion at the Venice Film Festival. You know what did, though?
Roman Polanski and
the Joker. No, he got like second place. With his movie that is about false accusation. Why do they keep letting him make movies, especially ones that are clearly designed to like?
Yeah, like that one's like a.
For those who don't know, Roman Polanski drugged and raped a 13-year-old girl. And then
no, Kyle, it was she was willing or something.
She said she forgave him, so that gives Hollywood
carte blanche to forgive him.
They're like, oh, we forgive him too then. No problem. Me too? No, not for Polanski. He's only got like a handful of good movies anyway, so. Chinatown, Rosemary's Baby, Knife in the Water. The Pianist. Remember when that won the Oscar and got a standing ovation? And I didn't, at the time, I was only like 11 or 12, so I didn't know all the Roman Polanski stuff.
That, but...
I might have been. But all I knew was The Pianist was a boring movie.
It was. And then Adrian Brody's like, yeah, I'm going to be an action star now.
And actually, I guess he did like Predator
and shit. He had the weirdest career after that.
They should have had Roman Polanski in Predators.
They already put another pedophile in Predator. I don't.
Oh yeah, yeah, in the new one because Shane Black.
Because Hollywood's morally
Shane Black's
bankrupt.
an idiot. Yeah, he's like, oh.
Anyways, buy our movie.
I don't think people would be upset. Yeah. Anyways, Hollywood, you fucks, buy our screenplays, fucking dummies. Make something good for once. Even though so far the things we've written kind of. I guess they're not completely hauntological, but they definitely reverence to exploitation films and stuff. But I mean, that's where the meat's at.
That's where the fun is, right?
The protein, the good shit. Yeah. Anyways, Akira. It was originally released in June of 1988 in Japan, and then the very opening of the movie is July 16th, 1988, and then there's a giant explosion that destroys Japan. And so the people in the theater were like, fucking next month? Enjoy your summer, kids. Less than a month away. It's alluding to an atomic bomb going off because it's in the midst of World War III. But you find out later in the film it was actually like a psychic event caused by Akira. Akira, never seen in the film exactly. He does show up eventually.
It's like a ghost,
a pile. In a pile of jars. Because after the 88 event, the Akira event, the government took him and experimented on him shit. And basically just cut him up into little bits. But I guess they learned a lot about psychic abilities because they were able to create permanently children 60-year-olds, right? Because they're just old as shit but stuck as being kids. Or is it that because of the experimentation makes them just be weird monster kids.
My reading on it was that they were all taken around the same time as Akira was.
Yeah.
And they what they learned from Akira and the medicine they created is what made the kids permanently kids.
Yeah.
So the way they controlled their powers is how they made them permanently kids.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's just a little set dressing. What we're really into here is
fucking
biker gangs. Fucking biker gangs, bruh. We got our main hero. His name is Canada. If you which version did you watch?
I watched the dub, man.
Okay, was it? Do you know if it was the '89 streamlined version or the 2001 Pioneer?
No, I think it was the 2001 Pioneer version.
So, in the Japanese version, when you watch it, you can, when they say his name, it's straight up just, I think it is pronounced like Canada.
Uh-huh.
But the way it is, and I think both dubs. I haven't watched the 2001 Pioneer dub, I don't think, but it's Canada. And his best friend Tetsuoooo, who's got
the craziest forehead.
Yeah, his character design is you got such a forehead, man.
He looks like a
hydrocephalic.
I can't say the word, but yeah, he's a little water baby.
Yeah, like Billy Quizboy. Yeah, so Canada is fucking cool. He's got
the country. Oh,
well, Canada. Well, we'll call him Canada. He's really fucking cool. He's got the badass red motorcycle jumpsuit, and then when he's in his casual clothes, pink polo, white khakis, looking like Kanye West in circa 2005. So I see what you did, Kanye. Actually, around that same time period, the Kanye song where he samples Daft Punk.
Oh yeah.
It has Akira clips in it, so maybe he did actually.
I think he did intentionally. It's also the same time. I feel like he was cribbing Shonuff style a little bit.
Shonuff.
He definitely had the shutter shades.
Shutter shades. Yeah, he made those cool. That was
Shonuff made those cool.
Oh, that was later though. The shutter shades.
I feel like it was the same time, but maybe it all blends together. I'm getting too old.
Mm-hmm. Shutter shades was later, but anyhow, he's just a cool guy. He's the leader of the gang. Tetsuo is his little bro, He kind of takes care of him. But Tetsuo's got something to prove.
Because he's always been a little...
He's tired of being a runt. Yeah, tired of being a runt. That's usually the most dangerous guy in gangs. The guy that's got something to prove to the other gang members. Yeah. It's he's going to do
he does brain a guy with a hammer really early in the movie.
Yeah, but they're all into that shit. As you can tell by the fluidity of animation, it's 24 drawings per second in a lot of the scenes, which is a crazy amount. That's more than Disney does. So take that, Disney. They also use over 300 different colors for the animation. Some of them were created specifically for anime. They created new colors for Akira.
Oh my god!
Because mostly they did a lot of it takes place at night, which is traditionally you don't do animation at night because you have to do so much color work. But they said, fuck that, this is gonna be real shit for real cool people. We don't have time to mess around with the daytime. Nothing cool happens in the daytime.
Which is the philosophy Batman the Animated Series took too.
Oh, the animation studio that made Akira actually did go on to do a lot of work for the Batman Animated Series. So
and Big O.
Big O.
Remember Big O?
Big O tires?
No, you remember, isn't it Big O? The mech, it's the mech anime that's basically just Batman with a mech.
No, I don't remember that.
No. I'm pretty sure that was the same studio.
Oh. Yeah, they did some other ones, but the one that stood out was Batman the Animated Series because that's the one that has, from the list that I was reading, that had a strong visual motif. They used black paper in Blackman.
I know, yeah, it was all done in
Black
the
Animated Series. And retrofuturism.
Mm-hmm. But theirs is more like a 40s World Fair.
It was the World's Fair version of the future from 1920.
Which is super cool. That's perfect for Batman.
Pretty good. They didn't have H.H. Holmes in it, though.
That's what they needed.
Yeah. When I think of the World's Fair, honestly, the 1910 Chicago's Fair, the World's Fair, it's H.H. Holmes was killing people in his murder hotel, The Devil in the White City, starring Leonardo DiCaprio. I don't think that's ever getting made, but it's been talked about a lot.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
he would play H.H. Holmes. I think I'd watch it. I don't really like Leonardo DiCaprio that much.
Oh, he's gonna play Tetsuoooo in the Akira remake.
They're gonna. It would be interesting if it was Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio instead of being
young
young
Asian
punk
kids.
teens. It's these two old white guys. Yeah, Brad Pitt as Kaneda and like Tetsuoooo, I love you. No, like flashbacks where he's crying and them as kids. But even when they do the kids, they just de-age them like in.
No, they don't even de-age them. They're just the old man Brad Pitt crying.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, we should be doing the Akira remake.
I refuse. Well, I don't know. Actually, like they gave me enough money.
They're gonna regret it.
You heard it here on the cult. I'm gonna sell out.
No, you can't. You're never gonna sell out. You gotta wrap people into your cult.
You're right.
You're the prophet.
I'm true and honest. I'm unknowable, but completely lovable. So
you're both beautiful and terrible.
Subscribe to my newsletter. You get the basic idea though. These are young punks, man. Tokyo's destroyed. They ain't got shit. It's similar to 2019 now.
Actually, Tokyo's been completely rebuilt by this point. But
well, no, because when they're on the freeway, it's like, don't go past here. It's the old city. Shit's fucked. So the parts of it aren't. They just have like, and when they have like the government like council meetings, like, we need. I told you we should spend the money on a new freeway. Goddamn.
It's the same shit every government's like.
The Japanese diet. That's what their sentence called. Just happens to be a cognate with an English word. I think it means something completely different. I don't think it has anything to do with eating food. Eating Japanese food.
That's because they really love sweet potatoes.
Sweet potatoes, do they?
Okinawa.
They have like their own kind of separate culture in Okinawa, though, because they're little island friends. They live forever. Someone can make a movie about that. But instead, they'll probably just make a movie about getting blown up. So I get it, because remember. Well, even now we're still seeing it up until recently when there was kind of people complaining about like the city destruction in superhero films and stuff. But for a long time it was like destructions of skyscrapers and city skylines is the most terrifying thing as Americans can imagine because of 9/11. 9/11, of course, where some people did a bad thing. That's all I remember about it. You're supposed to never forget, but man, I got real tired of it. I remember.
I mean, Trump forgot because he's going to supposedly host the Taliban like 2 days before the 9/11 anniversary.
I was tired of that shit about 3 days after it happened. I was like, yeah, it sucks, but why is everyone putting American flags on their car and shit?
I don't think it happened 3 days after it happened.
No, because I remember for my English class at the time, because I was like a sophomore in high school. We had to, for some reason, the teacher had us write an essay about our feelings regarding 9/11, and that was basically my essay. It was like, yeah, I get it. It was a tragedy. It was horrific and blah, 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 but now it's all just false patriotism and bullshit. Because listeners, you don't understand. I know like this far left politics is like a trendy new thing you picked up and learned from memes on the internet. That's been me since I was like 13. This ain't new shit to me. I was about trans rights when I like in fucking 1999. So kill yourselves is what I'm saying. Or join my cult. You got two options. Join my cult or you're fucking losing.
That's how you win them over.
That's societal pressure, right? That's the peer pressure. That's what you get the kids with. Don't you want to be cool?
I think you already have to prove your coolness ahead of time.
I think it's fucking apparent. Anyhow, I was also watching Akira. Because it was, yeah, probably around then. There's a few different periods where Sci-Fi Channel would show it.
I remember that.
That's how I first saw it, so I missed out on the violence and nudity.
There's not really that much nudity.
No, and it's also not gross exploitative stuff like a lot of anime in the 80s was. Where it's like, oh, you looking titties and I'll put my fingers in your mouth and rape you and stuff, you know? Like that real...
Sci-Fi didn't really show a lot of that anime.
No. Well, they showed Ninja Scroll, but heavily edited.
How do you show Ninja Scroll?
I don't know, because Ninja Scroll is like always...
One of the fucking main woman's powers are all based around getting raped, basically.
Yeah, she's poisonous.
Ugh.
Yeah, anytime I think of like anime as an art form and like how like ridiculous it can be, I'm like,
we talked about this before.
Ninja Scroll. Ninja Scroll. I mean, it's like cool, but like I would never like tell anyone I like Ninja Scroll.
You just did.
It's all right.
There's a whole bunch of people.
It's all right. This is our secret club, guys. It's us.
This is a cult.
This is a cult, all right?
Yeah, I don't like Ninja Scroll, and I don't ever tend to watch it again.
Well, you don't like the part where he
Zartan speaking.
You don't like the part where he cuts the rock dude's head in half, and his head just like slides off. That ultra violence is great.
But you get ultra violence in lots of places.
Yeah, Fist of the North Star. Fist of the North Star doesn't have any explicit rape, just really rapey vibes. Kira, not so much. There is like something's going on with the rival gang when they go to get revenge and they're assaulting Tetsuo's girlfriend. Like it's getting there, but luckily Kaneda shows up and fucking just jumps off of a speeding motorcycle and just runs really fast.
He's a man of action. There's one point where he's trying to escape from Tetsuoooo at the end.
Yeah.
And like his little buddy and Kay are on the motorcycle and he's like running with it. He's like, "What do you mean get on? There's no room."
Yeah. Fucking I run 30 miles.
I'll just take off. Don't worry, guys.
I run 30 miles an hour, no problem. Or even that
fucking Usain Bolt over here.
That same fight scene with the rival gang where he runs up the front of the motorcycle and kicks the dude off. He's like the anime superhero. And then of course there's
he also does like a motorcycle laser fight with Tetsuoooo at his full power, even though he had just destroyed the entire Japanese military.
Yeah, but Canada's got that super powerful gun.
Or that he stole from the military.
Yeah, but he's better than the military.
He's got that big dick energy. I mean, you can make an argument that Tetsudou's, there's something mentally there that he's not going to try. He's not going to try to kill
Kaneda. Yeah, well, yeah, because that's still like his older
brother
figure. Yeah. I think what they're really getting at is organized military. The state itself is useless, and it takes strong individuals to go out there, change the world. One man.
Then why is the colonel like the other hero in this movie?
I don't know. That always bothered me.
Japanese people in films too.
Well, it's not Japan. It's America too, where it's always like there's that fine, upstanding, real, honest,
right? There's like
guy.
I guess it's a very similar mentality to American, but yeah, there's always like an
honorable, like he's above like the he's doing it for the right reasons,
right? He's a dick for the right reasons.
Yeah, somehow he's above all the institutionalized structural imperialism that he perpetuates because he's doing it because of his own personal code of ethics,
right?
Which is still bad. A hero, I guess. He beats up the old guy that's into like the resonance frequencies.
Yeah, like scientist dude. But he's just beating him up because the scientist didn't kill Tetsuoooo when he was supposed to.
Yeah. I don't know. So that's a lot of people actually have a complaint about this movie in that since it is so truncated from the manga, even without knowing the manga, they complain that the second act is a little bit too amorphous, where not everything completely adds up. But to me, I think that actually makes it better because reading the manga, you get so much detail about every side character and everything. There's all this tangential stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's a fine line between too much information and not enough.
For me, it's like you easily step over that line, like because I just don't like things to be spelled out for me. I'd rather like fill in the blanks on my own if it seems pertinent or not to the actual story they're telling. The manga, we learn a lot more about the government figures. That religious leader that like his
shows
cult
up like 2 seconds
that like worships Akira. We learn so fucking much about that guy, and it just ruins the character.
We don't
completely.
need to know anything about the cult that's worshiping Akira.
Yeah. So there's stuff in the manga that I don't like. It is still really cool just because the idea of Akira is really cool, but it doesn't need to be 2,000 pages. They do have like some amazing like fucking 2-page like spreads of like citywide destruction and crazy stuff like that. Monster Tetsuoooo. It's pretty cool. I mean, like read the manga, it's cool too, but I don't have the same problem that a lot of people have with the movie where I don't know, they didn't spell everything out for me, so it's not a good movie. Like people's complaints about Mad Max Fury Road when it came out.
Fury Road I thought was perfectly fine.
Well, yeah, but there's people like, well, what's the deal with the Morton Joe? You fucking learned everything you need to know about him. He's a evil, shitty villain, dude. Like, what do you know? He loves big titties.
He doesn't have some great motivation. He's a piece of shit. What do you want?
Yeah, she disobeyed him, and now she's got to be punished. And he's also mad because she doesn't have big titties, and he only likes big titties. I think, right? Well,
I don't think it was the milk.
Oh no, I'm mixing up two things because his sex slaves were all models and stuff.
Yeah,
and then he just had like wet nurses, which we were talking about.
Yeah, we talked off air.
We were talking about it with our mom last night. Yeah, so I don't think we need to have all the motivations spelled out exactly. We just basically need to know what's going to drive Tetsuoooo to get to this point. And here's the basic rundown of Tetsuoooo. He's an orphan, just like Kaneda. Shows up in an orphanage, he's a wimp and gets bullied. Kaneda helps him out. They're best bros forever now. Their life's pretty hard and shitty. School sucks. They get abused at school. Law enforcement sucks because it's law enforcement, so you understand. And so all they can do is just get out there, man. Fucking get their bikes, have a good time. They don't show them drinking 40s or like tall boys, but that's what they're into. Because when they're at that pill bar, like they call it, like that's fucking garbage, man. We don't fuck with those pills. We just out here with that fucking black tar. And yeah, so they just get up to no good. I like the beginning of the movie where they just throw a crowbar at that guy's windshield and then throw a grenade in a car. Because it's like, fuck it. When I saw this movie as a kid, I was like, yeah, that's the world I want to live in.
The fucking world.
I want to do hood shit. Tetsuoooo, though, he needs to prove himself because he's tired of being called a squirt and being kind of bullied by his own gang. Which is weird. You'd think like Kaneda would bully him a little bit, but like not the other guys because you think he'd be like number 2.
Yeah.
And
that would be my read on it too,
but it's the guy with the cut off pill sweatshirt is kind of the number 2. Seemingly, he's the only one that makes it to the end of the movie. So.
He's definitely number 2 now.
Yeah. Kaneda's chilling in the pill bar. He's trying to listen to some tunes. The bartender's like, fucking play something. This isn't a discotheque. And then pill sweatshirt man is like, hey, we got the clowns cornered. And you're like, fuck, who are the clowns? Who are these going to be?
The Jokers?
Is it going to be the Jokers gang?
I'm the Jokers, baby.
I'm the Joker, baby. How do I get these cars? You ever seen that YouTube video that's from?
No.
It's so good. It's a guy doing like, it's like it's a videotape from like his acting class, like you get to do your scene.
Yeah.
He chose like the scene where the Joker interrupts like the dinner party. And he's just wearing a shitty like Joker Halloween costume with bad face paint, and I'm the Joker, baby. It's pretty bad. It's honestly like you just kind of feel bad for him because he's not doing a bad job. It's just like all the elements at play
are not working.
Yeah, it's like, well, first of all, I would just choose that scene. It's like it comes with a lot of fucking nerd baggage. You could have like better makeuping and costuming. The overacting that Heath Ledger did in the movie kind of doesn't work without the context of everything else in the movie. I don't know. It's just a bold choice. We'll say it's a bold choice. You guys seems pretty powerful. The clowns are not the Joker's gang because no white boys. There's no there's no dorky white boy with scars. They get into a big like motorcycle fight. It's one of the coolest animated action scenes of all time. Kaneda does that like controlled slide like into frame that everyone loves and has been copied a million times in other anime because in Japan they also can't come up with new things. They just constantly tear from the past.
I mean, how many Gundam series are there?
There's like a million. They also do what is it, that moe and sugoi shit, which is like cute or perverted pandering shit. That's kind of what anime is now. Why do they all look the same? In Akira, right, and a lot of anime in the 80s, they had their like own style. Like Fist of the North Star doesn't look like Akira. Akira doesn't exactly look like a Ghibli movie. All this sort of shit. And Akira's got like a very expressive, like just cartoony enough so that they can be easily expressive characters, but a little element of realism to it. Now everything is like thick digital lines, the monster anime faces.
Yeah, I mean they have a lot of the same problems that American animation has, I think, but
oh yeah, in America it's just like monster kids with like big eyes and weird shit, and then Japan's like monster girls with big eyes and big breasts and stuff. And oh no, you saw my panties. That's like
you just wrote 10 episodes.
Yeah, when I think about anime, it's always like, oh whoops, you saw my panties, I'm so embarrassed. And then the male protagonist is like, oh.
Well, let's talk about Kyle's favorite version of that anime. I believe it's called Love Hina.
Love Hina? That's some classic shit when I was 14. That was, those like sad, lonely, sad boy hours when you're 14. When you're like, yeah, I wish someone would love me. But then you grow up and someone does love you. And
like, that sounds great.
It's like, yeah, it doesn't quite work out. They don't like the same movies as I do. Like everything.
I honestly couldn't. I don't want you keep looking at me like you're expecting me to say something. I don't watch fucking anime.
You watched Baki the Grappler?
I have
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
I mean, I have heard of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
JoJo at least does actually have its own unique animation style. I tried to watch it though, and it was still just like fighty guy anime, which I was like, I don't care that much. But I will give it credit for just being kind of weird and having its own style. That said, most anime doesn't. They spend fucking such extreme character design elements that they can't fucking animate them, so everything is just close-ups of people talking and the characters like barely move. Fucking hate anime. Don't come out with that Evangelion shit either, too, because this is fucking garbage. He didn't know what the fuck he was doing. God damn. Which is fucking only...
Evangelion's also 20 years old.
Yeah.
Modern anime.
I like when, Ray's really hurt and Shinji goes to see her, and so then he masturbates. And he looks at him, cum in his hand, and he's like, man, I'm so fucked up. Why is that in the anime? You know what I mean? Like, why'd you put that in there? What does it serve how does it serve the characters at all? Weird shit like that in Evangelion. Like, he just didn't know what he was doing. He's just like, this will be kind of weird, I guess.
Whatever. People have to think about this one for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like his older mentor gets shot at the end and she's dying, and then she just makes out with Shinji to inspire him or something. So what? Why? And at the end when Asuka is like gonna choke him to death, and he's like, I came in my pants, or he got a boner or something. I don't remember what it is, but it's just some more weird shit. Some weird like sexual shit. Basically, the guy that created Evangelion is just like, really, his sexuality is so like repressed and messed up, I think. He's real mixed up. Curious about so people are terrified of the new Joker film because they think it's gonna inspire incels, right?
I don't know if that's quite right.
I just don't think it can be that good, honestly. It's Todd Phillips and he's copying Martin Scorsese. Same thing I'm talking about here. Like, I'm tired of seeing the same shit over and over again. So, like, that's my concern with it. I don't think Joker's gonna inspire anything more than for dumb white boys on the internet to quote the Joker annoyingly, like they did with Heath Ledger.
Oh, you mean like the one kid that quoted the Joker in that movie theater?
Did he?
Remember that? You don't remember
the
that
Aurora
shooting
shooter
in the movie theater?
Yeah, I know the Aurora shooter. I don't think he quoted the Joker.
No,
though.
I was just, but he was.
But he posted about the Joker.
Yeah, and he had his hair colored and shit. I'm just saying that, you know, you can't say it's not going to inspire anybody because
I mean, it's
fucking
possible.
Heath Ledger's Joker inspired somebody.
Yeah, it's absolutely possible. That's not like my big complaint about
Yeah.
it, though. I just don't think it can be that good. I'd be happy to be surprised, though. I do like Joaquin Phoenix.
I don't know. I'm just not interested in a solo Joker movie.
Oh yeah, like as like quoted from that critique last week where they're talking about, oh, so this is kind of the end of film, like everything is just gonna be a character study of a well-known property. So Black Widow, like fucking Lost in Translation or whatever. And so, yeah, that is a really depressing future to think about. So
That's what I'm saying. The old man Joker taking care of his wife after a stroke.
fucking millions of people watch that shit.
I would not watch that. I don't even know if I'm gonna watch this Joker movie. Maybe
I'm
when
not
it's not on DVD.
I'm not gonna pay for it. But I'll watch it. I don't really pay for anything anymore, though. I'm a criminal.
I don't pay for food. Mostly just steal it.
I just steal things. Well, you pick up your groceries, right?
Yeah.
Can you just roll by there and steal groceries? You think?
No.
You remember in trailer? You ever watch Trailer Park Boys?
Yeah.
Like they would steal groceries and resell them. Like I was just like, maybe you just roll by fucking Walmart.
Groceries hanging out.
Yeah, they just groceries in tubs and be like, oh, well, these are my groceries. Looks like I'm eating Pace Picante, New York City. All right, back to Akira. We've got to rein this shit in, man. The cult.
I'm not doing it. You're the one going
I
on
know.
ass tangents.
Our cult needs direction, all right?
You're the
Keep this shit locked in.
Kizza Commander. I don't know.
This cult needs direction.
I'm just here to like change faces and do funny voices.
Oh yeah, it's our turn. I was gonna call you Destro. How come he didn't sound Scottish in the cartoon?
Destro, he get a little he had a little bit of a bro.
Talk like this.
I talk like this. Cobra Commander, you are an idiot.
Yeah. Oh yes. The reason I brought up the Joker though about how it's probably not gonna inspire mass shooting is because of sad boy fantasy, power fantasy. That's kind of Tetsuoooo in this movie. He's got something to prove. He wants power. He's tired of getting bullied. What really sets him off? First, he crashes into the kid. the psychic kid, and because of that event,
He's got. Oh God, I hope this isn't awakening latent psychic powers.
yeah, is it awakening latent psychic powers, or is he being infected by psychic powers?
My impression, based on just the way the kids talk about it, is that everyone has this ability.
Yeah, and they accidentally popped it off,
and they accidentally awakened his latent psychic powers.
Well, yeah, because it's because of the Akira event, everyone's got psychic powers to a certain extent, basically. Yeah, I guess the movie kind of covers it. I thought maybe like, oh, what about that? But no, it's not really there. Yeah, then he wakes up in the hospital. He escapes and he goes to see his girlfriend, and he's like, "Man, that's some crazy bullshit.
Let's get out of here.
Let's fucking run away." And he goes to steal Canadian.
I'm gonna take Canada's bike.
Yeah, he goes to take Canada's motorcycle.
I like his sticker, Citizen Canada.
Yeah. And then him and his girlfriend, they're making their escape, and it's all revenge time from the clowns. I think. Because the only one of the clowns they show in the first part that seems to look like a clown is the main guy. And he doesn't show up in this fight scene. So maybe it's the clowns or just some other gang. But they cause a lot of trouble for him. Kaneda saves the day. Tetsuoooo was really pissed about getting beat up and also having to be saved by Kaneda. And he's going to beat the shit out of one of the other guys. He's giving it to him, which I understand. It was like, you sexually assaulted my friend, so I'll probably kill you. And Kaneda's like, what, you want to kill him? And Tetsuo was like, well, yeah. What are we out here in these streets doing, right? Someone's got to take it to the next level.
Didn't you see me in the beginning? I brained a man with a hammer.
And they're knocking each other off of motorcycles going like 80 miles an hour.
They definitely have killed some people. I don't give a fuck what they
threw grenades into someone's car. He's like, well, you want to kill him or something? It's... I guess
I thought we were doing that. What's going?
Maybe it's kind of like chivalry amongst the knights, where like you try
like a parlay,
yeah.
Ransom, please.
Yeah, you just try to ransom them and stuff. But otherwise, regular citizens though, you just blow their shit up. But other gang members, like yeah, you do parlay stuff. And so Tetsuo, Kaneda bullies Tetsuo quite a bit, and the rest of the gang. And Tetsuo,
that's what you do when you're the gang leader or court leader.
No, you gotta prop people up, but you gotta make it so. Well, no, I can't give away my tricks on this podcast. I just gotta.
I learned it at Jared Leto's feet.
You know who I learned from? Charlie Manson. Coming and creeping at you like a spider. But he's like, "Fuck this shit, man! I'm Tetsuo, and I got brain powers." Yeah,
and the cops show up. Well, not the cops, but the army shows up. We're gonna take this boy.
Yeah, because he escaped from spooky brain power lab. Yeah. And they get him, and Canada's just like, what the fuck? Because, I mean, what would you do if your friend got snatched up by the military all of a sudden? You're like, what's this? I mean,
I feel like it'd probably put up a little bit more of a fight than they did, but...
Well, they come in one of those, like, military cruiser things. Like, what can you do with it? You Molotov it, I guess.
Ram your bike into it.
His bike is way too cool. He's like, oh no, I can't scratch up my baby. Unless it's like a potential like world-ending event at the end. He's like, all right, well, sacrifices have to be made. Luckily, though, when they had been arrested the previous night, Canada had made friends with Kei. I think it's like Kai in the Japanese version, who is part of some sort of resistance. Like they were the ones who were trying to help get that kid in the beginning of the film. And get shot up.
Yeah, that's right. And then I did not understand that. That's the one piece I wish they would explain. Yeah, that's more. Is the resistance part. Is that it's not clear at all what their fucking their deal is.
Oh, so my assumption, in the manga they get into it quite a bit more, and it actually gets kind of messy. So it's like, well, which would you would get with like a political resistance group? You would think in like such a complex time. But my assumption is what in the movie, it's always just been like, no, they just want to rescue the kids, simple as that. Like, why the fuck are they experimenting on these kids? This shit's weird. It's like, if I was going to start political resistance, like, top of the list is go to the border and set the kids free. You know what I mean? It's like, there's some other shit we need to fix too, but like, top of the list, probably just get kids. Yeah, get kids out of prison.
Yeah, maybe, but then why does like the head dude, the Ryu guys, why does he go to he's working with like one of the people from the government itself.
Mm-hmm. Well, and
that guy doesn't seem like he's on the up and up.
Yeah, so in the manga, they get into it more because there is a traitor who's like feeding intelligence.
Yeah, it's that guy. I read into that. But.
And then the government is also different wings of the government are working against each other. So the guy that he's working with wants to have control over the fucking brain power kids and all this complex shit that's not.
So basically, the resistance is being used by this dude.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I figured, but I just didn't understand what his angle was or what really the resistance angle really was.
Yeah. While Tetsuo's in prison hospital, there's a cool scene where he gets attacked by giant toys. And then the glass breaks and Tetsuo cuts his feet and there's blood. And then these scary giant teddy bears like, oh no, blood, I'm scared. And then they fade away and it's like, oh yeah, there's dumb kids.
These kids, though, are all, they're not kids, right? There's some of them, they're 30 years old in some cases.
I think they got to be quite old because it's from around the time of Akira, right? So 88. And then this is 2019. So 40, 50 years old.
So,
and also, kids. Yeah, they're not even like mentally kids exactly. They have like Arrested Development.
Yeah, I guess
sort of thing, but they also still have matured a little bit. They kind of make me sad.
Yeah, no shit.
Like, they make me real sad. I'm like, oh man. Especially in the beginning, even without knowing all the details, when the guy's trying to rescue him, it's like, oh, this makes me real sad. So that's a good thing about Akira. It's one of the only animated movies that isn't Studio Ghibli where I'm like, oh, emotions.
I feel something.
Yeah, because usually it's like, oh boy, I sure hope Goku can punch Cell's butt off. I'll find out next time. Tetsuo is just fucking a really strong psychic, though.
Yeah,
right?
He's like got crazy psychic powers.
So he is a dick to the kids. This is like where the movie really turns for me, where it's like, oh, I don't feel bad for Tetsuo at all anymore. He's a dick because he just bullies these kids. And it's like, come on, man. They're in the same boat as you. And they're kids. I mean, they're not kids, but they are. They just got, old skin. Yeah, so I feel bad for him. The little girl kid, like, it doesn't seem like she can walk anymore. She's just really tired all the time.
She's in like a hyperbolic time chamber.
Yeah, so that's sad.
The other guy,
the other guy he looks like Donald Trump. And he's got a little pod he floats around in, which is pretty cool, admittedly.
He's like MODOK.
Yeah. It leads a little bit cooler than Donald Trump.
MODOK's more like Donald Trump.
Yeah, so this is the turn where I'm just like, oh, MODOK. Tetsuo's nothing but trouble. He's bullying the kids, and he wants power. The kids, like, accidentally tell him about Akira. I guess it seems like information that you would tell someone who's like, all right, well, you're part of the party. You're the team now, right? You're here stuck with us, so, like, this is what you need to know. But little did they know, Tetsuo is a little power-hungry bitch, and he's like, oh, Akira, huh? I'm fucking find this Akira and kill him.
He's fucking with my mind.
I'm gonna kick his ass.
Well, I mean, that's what he thinks. He thinks Akira is, like, fucking with his head.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because he doesn't realize Akira's not alive, but Akira kind of is.
Brain powers are weird.
Well, when he gets the jars of Akira, it's like brain stem and like
optic nerve.
Yeah, parts of them must still be
operating.
Yeah, because they have the resonance frequency for Akira, which is like active, so like he's capable of doing something. Is Akira actually in his head?
Fuck if I know, man.
Yeah, I mean, presumably he would be because the kids aren't actively in his head. He thinks they are at first, but then they tell him about Akira, and like they can hear Akira too, and he's coming back. Akira's coming back. Akira's not really coming back. Maybe he's gonna possess Tetsuo.
If that's his plan, we don't really get any indication of it.
No, it just seems like Tetsuo's a dick.
Yeah, it seems like maybe Akira is planning something else. And Tetsuo is just a prickhole.
Tetsuo! Can't wait for Brad Pitt's powerhouse performance.
I'm telling you, Leo would kill it as Tetsuo.
He'll be Canada.
No, Brad Pitt's Canada.
Yeah. That's
I know.
What I mean.
Leo isn't kill it as Tetsuo.
Oh. Tetsuo.
Tetsuo. I don't know. There's a D in there.
No, it's just Tetsuo. I don't want it to be Leonardo DiCaprio. I want it to be Matt Damon.
No.
And the Colonel will be George Clooney. And it'll be directed by Steven Soderbergh. Or Joel Schumacher. Oh my God. Real quick side tangent. Did you see Joel Schumacher said he slept with like 40,000 partners? If someone did the math, obviously it's not possible, but like
That's a lot.
he would be having like from like the age of 13 onwards, he'd have to have like 55 partners a day or something like that. Something ridiculous. Joel Schumacher's crazy, basically. So he should probably direct the Akira remake. They'll have like nipples on Canada's bike jacket. Get it? It's
Everyone
Batman
have really spandexy
forever
asses.
joke or something. I don't know. It was a low effort joke. It was almost a meme, honestly. Anyway, that's weird. That's even like more than Wilt Chamberlain numbers, which makes sense because Wilt Chamberlain's an athlete. Like he'd have the stamina for it, you know. And Joel Schumacher.
I mean, some of these numbers are ridiculous because basically you're just not getting shit done at all.
Well, so I mean, Wilt Chamberlain's probably exaggerating too. It's because there's no way he's keeping actual count too.
Right.
He's basically just like, yeah,
It's a lot of women.
I fucked a lot of people. So cool, I get it. And Wilt Chamberlain, it makes sense. Like I said, he's an athlete. His schedule relatively open, right? You know what I mean? He wasn't doing too much but practicing and playing basketball and having sex probably. Which I could see it, you know, and he's got the stamina for it, man. He's Wilt Chamberlain. So that makes sense.
You don't know what Joel Schumacher's cardio is like.
I
also,
guess
he
not.
keep it one of those dudes that just laid there.
That's true. But he's also a director. I know he doesn't really direct or do very much anymore, but for a while, like when he was at the height of his like Hollywood fame or Hollywood power, I mean, it's still a lot of work to direct Batman versus Robin. That is still like got to be really time consuming. Like he was. There's no way there's a lot of shooting days where he's able to have sex with multiple partners.
No.
So there's days he had to make up for it and have sex with like 70 people.
Maybe he just lined them all up and in just one poke and he's moved down the
Maybe
line.
it was just like, if they're there while I'm having sex, it counts.
Man, I mean, even if you legitimately had sex with that many people, why the fuck are you going around talking about it? I don't understand it.
Yeah, especially when it's like so unreasonable.
Mm-hmm.
I had sex with 1 million people.
I have 20,000 STDs.
I have STDs they haven't even fucking diagnosed
I have
yet.
STDs only wombats get.
That's right, I fucked them. I fucked marsupials. Australia. I'm banned in Australia. Won't let me in, just like Johnny Depp.
I forgot about that.
Akira Tetsuoooo turns into a meat monster. Well, the first thing he does, though, is he flies up into fucking space and destroys a satellite. Because they're dropping shit on him.
Oh, they're lasering him.
Yeah. They're dropping bombs.
Like a goddamn space laser.
Remember that project that someone had pitched for America where it was like a giant space station that would just drop like giant columns?
Rods from gods.
Yeah.
I don't know if I believe we might actually have one of those.
You think so? I mean, it's like a pretty like simple, elegant solution,
Yeah,
right?
it's like, yeah, we're gonna create our meteorites.
Yeah, we just dropped like big heavy shit from space. Well, that'll fuck some shit up. I like when he goes into space to kill a satellite because it's badass, first of all. But this is one of the first films to utilize the fact that there's not any sound in space.
Oh, that was cool.
Yeah, you don't see that again until Firefly, I think.
Yeah, Firefly's like the Serenity.
A lot of people are like, yeah, it was invented in like Gravity and Interstellar and shit. So, nah.
Didn't 2001 use it too?
Yeah, there's 2001 uses a lot of space silence.
Yeah, so I mean, like 2001, Akira, Firefly, and then a bunch of other movies.
A bunch of other movies are doing it now because they probably watched the old movies and like, hey, that's pretty cool. Or Neil deGrasse Tyson sent him a tweet and was like, hey, did you know there's no sound in space? And also, I'm a sex predator too. Fucking science, man. He's so annoying.
Science or
Neil deGrasse Tyson specifically. Yeah. I'd like to hear his criticisms about Akira, a fantasy sci-fi movie. Yikes. So Tetsuoooo is missing an arm for a bit, but from the rubble, he creates a new arm.
A robot arm.
One of the craziest pieces of animation you've ever seen. I don't know if like people realize it when they watch it, but how complex it is.
How many moving parts are going on?
Yeah, like so every like bolt and like shard of metal is like individually animated and it like grips around and like turns into muscle. You can see like the keyframe step-by-step animation for it. It's something crazy like 400 like cells of animation just for that. And like you can see it step by step as every like piece is coming together and twisting around into like muscle and stuff. And it's like, holy shit, they must have spent so much time doing this. And there's parts in the film too where like they animate like the foreground and the background so they can use like movement and depth of field in it. And it's like, man, that's so much effort to put into it. Obviously, it makes the movie look cool as fuck. Like there's not another movie that looks like this except for some Studio Ghibli movies, but even there, like it's not the same like fluidity of motion. So it was worthwhile. It was quite an endeavor. I guess what comes close is Redline, an animated film, another anime that took like 6 years to make because it has like the craziest animation too. But that came out in 2010, so about a million years after Akira. But yeah, they were just hand drawn this shit back then. There's barely any digital manipulation in this movie because it didn't really exist yet.
You're still a few years away from that being really prevalent.
So it's just a real monument to what animation can be. And then it came out and everyone was like, fuck yeah, anime rules. And then there proceeded to not be another anime movie of this caliber for the rest of your lifetime. So thanks, Akira.
We're going to hammer that point in at least 2 more times.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically
that's the thrust of this podcast.
That's the message of this podcast is there'll never be anything like Akira again because fucking people can't even imagine anything like Akira.
I can't imagine. They don't got that imagination.
They don't. When's the last time you saw a movie that takes place in the near or near distant future that is a completely wholly original idea?
I mean, there's not even a lot of them in back then. Like Akira's still borrowing from like Blade Runner and shit.
It's from the same period as Blade Runner.
Yeah, but
and Neuromancer. In fact, Blade Runner, Neuromancer, and the Akira manga are the 3 pillars of cyberpunk.
Yeah, but okay. But I mean, I guess what I'm getting at is like, can you think of any near future movies besides those ones? I mean, like, there wasn't a lot to begin with.
The entire sci-fi wave of the 50s and 60s.
I mean, like, to a certain extent, like Star Trek, but I don't think that's true of a lot of the sci-fi wave in the 50s and 60s.
I mean, I can get you a list, I guess, where they were actively trying to predict the future. In fact, they're actively trying.
I mean, there's definitely this like pulp like novels and shit I can point to, but I can't think of a lot of movies off the top of my head in the 50s and 60s.
Oh no, there's tons of sci-fi movies. They're not like necessarily like financial or even critical successes at the time, but their entire goal was to see what like space travel or even existence on Earth would be like in the future.
I mean, like space travel ones to me, like they don't seem like near future at all. That's like far distant future, and also it veers all those like super distant futures like Star Trek. They veer into fantasy.
Well, I mean, yeah, who cares about Star Trek? But
I'm just getting like the spacefaring ones, like they
fucking Back to the Future, all right?
Well, yeah, Back to the Future is also it's like that. It's also borrowing from like the same aesthetic as Blade Runner and Neuromancer and Akira.
Well, now Back to the Future, I think borrows more from the '60s pulp than cyberpunk.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
Well, I guess it's a mix of the two, to be honest.
I mean, that's true of everything. I guess that's my point is like...
Well, so you have to have relativism with it because you're in the present and the past has happened. So you're going to pull from the past and the present to come up with some sort of future. That's all futurism is, essentially, is just trying to make educated guesses about the future. But people don't try to do it very much anymore in film. In fact, it's...
I mean,
they don't even make an effort to create anything new at all. It's existing.
Yeah, I mean that's like a separate issue with film, I think. But yeah, you can pull it out to all media, I guess. There isn't. I can't think of a lot of stories that take place in like a near future.
You see a lot in music now too, because just thinking about Prince or David Bowie or soundtracks for film in the 80s in sci-fi movies. Where they were trying to push the limits of like what sound will be in the future. There's even like concept albums from like Hawkwind or whatever, where it's like the distant year of 2008.
I guess what I'm getting at is I can't even think of like a media right now that is really trying to do any type of look at the near future, in 10, 20 years.
Yeah, that's my point.
But it's not like they're copying stuff that happened before. It's just no one's even looking at it.
Yeah, I feel like we've gotten so far up our own ass about nostalgia and the past that
we do
we can't even perceive the future. It also might be because the future is terrifying for us right now. Because what's on the horizon is, we're all gonna burn to death.
Oh no, some of us might drown.
I guess. What are some of the young adult novels to films? Are they?
Yeah, I guess like
are they
Hunger Games.
Are they predicting future in that, or is it an alternate world?
Yeah, I mean that's
because I don't know enough about the lore of them to know.
The Hunger Games definitely feels like an alternate world to me.
Yeah,
and I never read like the Maze Runner or any of that shit, so I don't know.
That's like even Battle Royale when it came out. It was that was predicting like scarcity of the near future and stuff. Mm-hmm. It didn't like solidify exactly what the causes were, but it wasn't important to the narrative.
But if you want a near future movie, do I have one for you?
Akira.
It's got cars. Oh wait.
Oh, the movie we're making or writing? Hell yeah! It's called Cars. Disney's Cars. It's not the end of the world, I guess, that people aren't making anything like Akira anymore. Obviously, it's just business. Like I said at the beginning preamble, capitalism and neoliberalism's support of capitalism at all costs has kind of made it so. Where does consumption end and art begin? And currently, it seems like consumption doesn't end and the art doesn't begin.
Yeah, I mean, that's been the case. I just feel like people finally realizing that's been the case for at least 30 years now.
Yeah, the 90s weren't. Well, I mean, The Matrix, right?
Yeah,
Dark City. I mean, like, there's always like small.
You can point to some even now.
Small movements, but yeah, it's not the prevailing. It hasn't been the prevailing target or the prevailing goal or prevailing idea for. Yeah, about 30 years, not since
it's really
the 80s.
Started to change in the 80s. That's where I feel like the flip got switched.
Like we got like Blade Runner, Terminator, Akira, Alien, Neuromancer, the original Fallout video games. But even the Fallout video games, when they were made, were harkening back to a future predicted by a past that didn't happen, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, they were like 50s, 60s futures.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the pulp 50s and 60s. Mm-hmm. Like, how would it play out if we got to the Cold War? Yeah, but yes, it just doesn't happen anymore. And that's my larger point is, it's not the end of the world because it's just, whatever, it's just movies. I care about movies a lot, but that doesn't mean it's that important. But for me, I think it is important because it's larger than just movies or music or media. It's that we're so like culturally disturbed or in like some sort of arrested development. Our generation is that we can't see the future at all. And that just seems completely hopeless. Right? And a lot of it, of course, is capitalist control and control by corporations and what's marketable and that sort of thing. But
well, I mean,
there's a lot of people that just don't even try. Right?
Yeah, here's the thing. That's certainly true of film and TV shows to a large extent, right? But
not music, though.
Not music. Not really books either, because you can self-publish.
But I
do feel like it's an issue where it's it's a little bit of both not being able to see the future and being afraid of what the future is going to bring. Yeah, because in America at least, this first generation, a long time, that is absolutely going to be worse off than our parents. Yeah, and that's not conducive to looking forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's so people were looking ahead in the 60s and 70s and 50s. They were like, fucking, we just got some dude on the moon, right? Mm-hmm. It was like, damn, what can't we do? What's going to happen? And there can be argument to made about like the false patriotism and shitty things about the 60s and 70s, but people like, shit was looking bright. You know what I mean? People like, man, like, well, it's going to be so cool in the future. Like, we're going to have like fucking cars that talk to us and shit and fly. And blah, blah, blah. And now it's like, oh, man, we're all going to burn in 10 years. So fucking, I want to watch Captain America save the day.
And then also the car that talks to you is also listening to all your conversations and sending them to some warehouse in Cupertino where a bunch of guys are transcribing it to try to sell you the next product.
Well, probably not even a bunch of guys transcribing it now, right?
No, I think it was actual people who were transcribing it. So, hey, we got a job for you.
Yeah, I saw there was a burrito delivery robot at like one of the California campuses. And everyone thought it was automated, but it turns out they're
driven by some dude. Yeah,
so they're being piloted by workers in like Colombia they're getting paid like $2 an hour. Yeah. So
I think it was 5 cents an hour is what I read, but it was
like slave labor. So it turned out the future predicted in the cyberpunk of the 80s ended up being kind of the same, but much more insidious, and there's not any resistance or counterculture to it. Popular culture just became so monolithic and absorbing everything. There's not much hope for the future, so...
It is weird to me how, man, in some ways it's not as monolithic as it used to be, like in the 60s when, you know, there's only 3 TV stations and everybody's listening to the same radio channels and the same music, but...
I mean, you think it is that way, but it's not exactly, because everything is permutations of the same thing. And there's like a unified meme culture, at least for our generation, you know?
So, I mean, who's to blame for that, though? I think it's just people.
Well, I think it's because our generation is sick.
I'm not sick.
Well, there's definitely some sort of like arrested development, infantilization, escape from reality problem that a lot of our generation has, which is absolutely, you can see it magnified in the full glory of Disney presents Marvel's Avengers. Like, we're hoping that our childhood heroes are going to somehow come through the screen and save the day. And then we won't just rot away.
I don't know. I feel like that's true of a lot of generations. Like, they didn't necessarily do it with like superheroes, but you can go back and watch John Wayne, and it's the same shit.
It's different though, because he represents just like totemic, like white man power, right? You just want to see justice served, not like, God damn, John Wayne, can you just change the flow of history and change the events that are coming upon us? You know what I mean?
I don't know. I feel like you're taking it a little far, but
I don't know.
I get the sentiment.
Yeah, it's just the scale is much different, but it is like, oh, God damn, someone save us. Or at least someone entertain me, childhood pop culture figure, so I don't have to think about how terrible life actually is. I guess like a lot of people just want escapism in entertainment, right?
Yeah, I mean that's been true for a long time too.
Yeah, that's boring though. I guess you got to give the people what they want. Problem is, what I want is completely different, so I'm just upset all the time. Is it Tetsuoooo like basically consumes Akira when he turns into the meat monster?
Yeah.
He starts consuming everything.
He ate his girlfriend.
Yeah, that was scary.
Yeah.
That's like in Princess Mononoke too, when Lord Koto turns into a monster and San starts to get like stuck in his like tendrils and stuff. That always like
bothered you.
Yeah, I was like,
it's a real body horror shit.
Well, like the claustrophobia of it and stuff too. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, I mean, squeezed to death by a meat monster.
Yeah. Well, I guess that'll wrap it up. 50th episode. VHS Cult, McVentureProductions.com. There's no hope. There's no future. Not from the mainstream media. Not from the mainstream political parties. Not from your family, who don't understand because they're from a generation that's completely detached from the reality we exist in now. The only hope is with me, with VHS Cult. So go to McVentureProductions.com and see if we get those donations in there. You plant a seed, you watch it grow. Who knows how powerful it is.